Hello and welcome to another edition of Taking the Bar, the show where local lawyers and lawmakers talk about law and politics, tell us a little bit about themselves, all while we're having a drink at a local bar. My name is Matthew Mobilio. I'm your host today of the Mobilio Wood law firm. Today's guest is Dave Harrington. Dave is a Lehigh County Commissioner. He is also a immigration attorney. And he's been kind enough to sit down with us at Bell Hall, which is a burger and beer bar down in downtown Allentown. They've been kind enough to allow us to use their outdoor patio, which is a little overcast right now, but we're also shooting at near sunset. So beautiful place to come and hang out, especially if you're coming down for a Phantoms game or anything else downtown. They would love to have you here. It's a great spot to hang out. And Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. But in any event, Dave, tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. So, as I think we were discussing a little before this, I am a father-to-be. I'm set to have my first child.
Which is awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Do you know that it's only one, though?
It better be. Yeah, no,
okay,
it
well,
is.
All right,
it's just one. We have the sex of the child and everything. Like I'm gonna have a little baby boy.
Oh, congratulations!
So thank you so much.
Awesome, little Dave.
Yeah, little Dave. And married to my wonderful wife Clarice. We just got married last year, and I've been in the Lehigh Valley. Since I was 10, something like that. I mean, I'm not too old, but to me, that's 2/3 of my life. As we were saying, I work as an immigration attorney over here, actually right over in Sovereign Building during the day, and it's been an interesting few years as an immigration attorney with the changes in the law and what we can do and what we can't. But at night and weekends, I do my Lehigh County Commissioner work, try to get some good things passed, and try to make sure I'm serving the citizens of Lehigh County.
That's great, and one of the things I want to talk about, which I know we didn't discuss, at the interim, or at the outset, is being an immigration attorney. I don't think people really realize what that entails.
Sure.
We hear, I think the public mostly thinks that is probably negative connotation, right? You're trying to get people into the country that might not necessarily be, allowed to be in. But tell us what you do. Sure.
Yeah, so what I always start with is, nobody's going to go hire an attorney if their goal is to not follow the law to get in. Sometimes my clients find themselves on the other side of the law, and I figure out a way to get them back into it. I have, I think, been a pretty fair dealer. I have good relationships with a lot of the federal agencies. This might get, this might get, a little bumpy. We're gonna have to go talk with the ICE agents or something like that just to get you into the system. And my clients are normally a little afraid of that, but I've built relationships and they understand that it's a professional career. A lot of the big things that I'm doing really are helping folks who are coming in, particularly unaccompanied minors. So children whose parents are either passed away or abandoned them. I help get them into placement here in the United States, and then they get on the path for a green card. Help a lot of people bring their family members over. Someone met a wife while they were studying abroad. They want to bring her over. Somebody's mom and dad they want to bring over to the United States. So it's a lot of, to me, it's a lot of opportunities to change someone's life forever. And when you accomplish that, it feels great. Obviously, when you can't so much, it's a big impactful loss. But no matter what, I advocate for my clients, and I make sure that I'm giving them, the best chance that they have to get right with the law, to be able to stay in the United States, get working documents, everything like that. So it's certainly a challenge in a lot of instances, but it can be really rewarding when you can help somebody.
Seems to be a good transition to, you're essentially a volunteer as a commissioner of Lehigh County.
It's volunteer work, and you do it because you want to help people. You do it because the county has a lot of really essential services that they do, and you have an opportunity to improve the lives of folks who are using them. So to me, that feels good.
Well, obviously, Dave, you are, it seems like your career and your trajectory has been to help people. And, as a Lehigh County Commissioner, you were in a unique position to help Where we have 400,000 people in Lehigh County, or
It's about 375, 380. When I was running, it was about 365,000, because I always said if I met 1,000 people a day, I can meet everyone in a year. But we're one of the fastest growing areas, so we're on pace to be up in one of the major metropolitan regional areas here pretty soon.
So it looks like it's a huge opportunity to make an impact, as a commissioner. And I understand that as part of the economic stimulus package that came through was it through the Biden administration or the Trump administration?
Well, so we've had the opportunity to have two. So there was the first round of the COVID relief money that really went to, the PPE, emergency business loans, stuff like that. And then we got the American Rescue Act fund through the Biden administration, and that was $72 million over the course of the 2 years that we're going to get it. It's kind of tapering off. And that has been what we've had is probably the largest pot of federal monies that have come in.
So of that 72 million, my understanding is that about 10 million has already been at least allocated to some projects. Do you have an idea, or the commissioners have ideas where the rest is going to go, or at least proposals of where the rest is going to go?
Yeah, so we actually had a really good opportunity to form a group with the county executive, some county commissioners.
County executive Phillips Armstrong.
Phil Armstrong, yep. And folks from the community, including the United Way, including some other community service organizations, to get a roadmap set up of how we wanted to use the funds. And that came out about a year ago, is when we finally got that. There's a lot of stuff in there that is going to help bolster crucial county functions. So we're going to use a lot of the money to help Cedar Brook. That's the the assisted living location for the old folks home here in Lehigh County. It's something that we're really proud of. It helps folks retire with dignity. It gives them adequate care, and it needed some upgrades to it. We wanted to redo the HVAC to make it less susceptible for airborne pathogens, which is something that we learned through the COVID pandemic. We also put some of that money into grant opportunities for folks who are, dealing with a lot of the ramifications, both economic and otherwise, of COVID. And we've also, and this not the American Rescue Act so much, but the ERAP. We've had an emergency rental assistance program that's doled out millions of dollars to help folks stay in their homes, to keep landlords afloat so they can pay their mortgage too, and kind of make sure that we're not losing everybody out there because folks were laid off for 6 months or a year or something like that. So it's a combination of social services and projects. And I think we're going to have some big upgrades to places. One of the cool things we're looking at is to upgrade the Wi-Fi in the jail, so that we can use a tablet program to connect inmates to family without having to go over phone calls maybe, or to help them receive documents from their attorneys or from the court, and also just to access libraries, law libraries, fiction, nonfiction books, things like that. The potential is there. Obviously, it's a concrete building, so we needed a little bit of money to update it. But I'm confident that we can use this American Rescue Act fund to bring the county up to speed, to deal with some of the social issues that have come out of COVID, and to set us on a right path for the future. We really wanted to focus on using the money to build forward.
Which brings me to an issue that I think that you're interested in, at least in talking about, and that is decriminalization of marijuana, or at least small amounts of marijuana. So,
just to the point of decriminalization. I mean, I think we've seen enough time gone by where we should be working to decriminalize it on a federal level. I mean, there's no reason that someone with a personal amount of marijuana should be potentially caught up in federal charges. We've seen legitimate businesses start and provide a tax base, provide jobs for folks in places like Massachusetts and places like California. And I think it's really time that we evaluated why are we doing this anyway? What's the basis of it? We know that there are readily available other substances. You can't watch a Super Bowl without seeing ads for beer all over the place.
Right.
And we know that if taken in excess, beer is going to be more detrimental for you than marijuana. especially if you're able to regulate it, to tax it. And it's odd to me that on the other side of the Delaware River here, totally legal to have recreational marijuana. Here you could end up in jail for it.
Where the DA has decided that he's going to dedicate resources to viewing surveillance cameras and viewing, having officers or detectives at ballot boxes to make sure that people don't deposit more than one ballot at a time.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
Well, I've been on record with this. First of all, there's the genesis of this. It comes from the big lie that Trump beat Biden in 2020, and that we're operating under an illegitimate federal government, which on its face, I think is a disservice to the trust in the system that you need for a democracy. Secondly, of all the arguments I've seen from the folks pushing for surveillance for these ballots, nowhere have I seen them say they're dropping off illegal or fraudulent ballots. It's it's two ballots coming in, and most likely it's a spouse gets turned in their other spouse's ballot. And the law in Pennsylvania, I think, it can be applied in a way where you stop folks from ballot harvesting, where they go out and they say, give me 100 ballots, don't even look, fill them out how I tell you to, and legitimate things like that. But it's being used in such a way that it's criminalizing folks who just want to cast their vote. I was very happy to see a bill being presented to the legislature to try to stop folks from being prosecuted if they're dropping off their spouse's ballot. But at the end of the day, we have an entire voter security force in our elections office. They have barcodes. You have to match the outside envelope with the secrecy envelope. We just found out you need to date the time that you're dropping it off. We have rolls that we're constantly going over to make sure people are registered at the correct address. We have so many safeguards in place that to expend, again, limited county resources to stop folks or to prosecute folks for up to 2 years, by the way, in prison, if that's the maximum sentence.
I think it's a misdemeanor, right? Is that correct?
It is, yeah. You can be convicted up to 2 years in prison. I think it's an M2. It's got to be, because an M3 is only up to 1. So you're looking at 2 years in prison for, John Smith dropping off Jane Smith's ballot, and she might be in the car, or she might just be behind him. But if he's got 2 in his hand, those 10 steps that he walked doesn't seem like enough for 2 years in prison. And especially, as I said, those detectives are there. They're not doing other things. I think it's obviously it's the DA's discretion to enforce what laws, and if he wants to make that his policy, that's up to him. But I don't think that it's something that we should be doing. And I certainly don't think that it is a wide enough issue to warrant prosecution of folks who are dropping off their spouse's ballot. It just seems like the punishment is not fitting of the infraction.